Call the meeting to order, the 7th of September, Griggs County Commission, 2:30. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Roll call. Avriel.
I have you on speaker.
Okay, thank you.
Scott Canby.
Here.
Rod Zorn.
Here.
Stephanie Edlund is absent. And I'm partially here, John Wickford. Approval of the agenda. If we could add to the agenda to discuss the appraisal, I don't know if you've made any
I
progress
made
in
a-
that, but let's put an agenda so we can just keep us
I
up to.
talked to him yesterday, 2
Okay.
days ago.
Can we have a
I'll make
motion to that effect
to add the Finley Farmers appraisal
to the agenda?
to agenda, yeah.
And,
I'll second that motion.
okay. Motion by Tranby, second by Averill to add the Griggs County Farmers agenda to the, proposal to the agenda. Now we'll go on and approve the rest of the agenda if it's acceptable to you. You see anything or any more additions?
I don't see nothing. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the addition of Finley Farmers appraisal of the fertilizer plant.
We have a motion by Tranby to approve the agenda with the addition of the Finley Farmers appraisal. We don't have that, but we want to talk about it. Do I have a second to that agenda?
I'll second that.
Second by Zorn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Agenda approved. On to the August 17th meeting minutes. Sam, do you have anything that,
Nope.
questions on anything there?
Nope, don't think so.
Okay, you guys will have a look at that, and when everybody's ready, we'll need a motion to approve, hopefully waiving the reading.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes
And dispense with the reading.
and dispense with the reading minutes.
Motion by Avriel to approve the August 17th meeting minutes and dispense with the reading. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second that one.
Second by Tranby. Any further discussion? Barring no further discussion, we'll move on to the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Minutes approved. We'll have a look at the bills. Sam, anything stick out there?
Nope.
What's the first? What's Ardmark? Oh, that's
Airmark.
Airmark. That's
That's-
rugs and things like that,
Correct.
isn't it?
Yep,
Okay.
yep, yep.
Gilbertson's is a culvert, Wayne.
Gilbertson's is tires,
Tires, okay.
trucks, trailer.
Workman's comp, we took it out of workman's comp and it should have been out of the road.
So the workers' comp, what it does is that we get a estimated premium, so then that gets paid out of the general fund, and then when we get the breakdown, then we go and amend
This is
it.
a refund.
Yep. So that's we had to pay another $1,000 or whatever, but we took it out of the right accounts at that point, so it all got taken out.
Same
of
with the
those.
$27 in the general workers' comp.
Yes. Yes.
That was just a
Yep.
bookkeeping adjustment.
Yep.
Okay. See, the Lenora Township got a pretty big flood check.
Yep.
What was that for, Wayne? Culverts?
Was for all their gravel washes and, I think the reset 3 culverts.
Okay.
That was work to be completed and now they've completed it. So.
Right. So that was, we were holding the money, or we'll apply for the money?
Treasurer was holding the money.
They were holding it, okay. So it
In
was,
the flood fund.
yeah, in and out fund, yep. Yep, okay.
Not sure if you guys want to talk about it now or when Bob gets on, but if you look at page 11, that is your payroll stuff. In the 2023 budget, we do have 3 line items for the sheriff's payroll. Right now, we do have Bob, Brian, Shane, Dalton. We did pay Bradley Anderson, and every once in a while we do pay that Shelby Volk. So just so that you guys are aware.
Okay. Yeah, I think there's some other issues when Bob gets on that will be discussed too, so I think we'll put that off until then. Thank you. Anything else on the bills?
I make a motion to approve the bills as presented.
Motion to approve the bills as presented by Tranby. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Second by Averill. We'll move on to a voice vote on this. Signify by saying aye, nay if you disapprove. Averill.
Aye.
Tranby.
Aye.
Zorn.
Aye.
Wakefield votes aye. Bills approved. If you'll have a look at the monthly office reports, anything that stands out to you?
There's just one.
Hmm?
There's just one.
Oh. At the monthly office report. The monthly office reports don't really need an approval, it's just for your information. Let me know when you're ready to move on to the next topic.
Looks good to me.
And I did send my office reports.
Yeah.
My
Yes, all that was
Yeah.
we saved you some paperwork.
yeah.
Yeah.
If that-
Josh, you good?
Mm-hmm.
Rod?
Yes, I'm good.
Very good. We're a little ahead of schedule here. Should we move to the road department? Everybody in favor of that?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Wayne?
Yes, sir. We've got Paul here from KLJ. I think he's got an update on the project.
I can jump in on that. I guess we're about 70% done with the design of the bridge. The bridge itself is basically designed by the finishment of the road and environmental stuff that goes along with it. As part of that, there'll be, I guess, 4 parcels that'll be affected. We thought it was 2 before, but it does extend past the section line. With having to raise the bridge up about 2 feet to get it out of the floodplain. I think the beams are still gonna be in the 25-year floodplain, but it'll just be out of the 15, so, that was, and the DOT will pay for that raise because of that. Get it out of 15-year flood. So So we'll still need to acquire right of way, and that would be a county cost for the right of way, but nothing for the bridge. So I'll get you some estimates for that here shortly. We're working on getting those right of way limits drawn up right now. I was just on a call on that yesterday. And I believe the cultural report already went in as well. So, then they'll have to put the bridge up for adoption, which is too big, nobody's gonna take it. But they gotta go through the process. It only takes a couple weeks, they have to advertise, but that's another step that has to happen. And then I guess the only other thing, I guess we're gonna talk about NDACO.
Yeah. The NDDOT meetings?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that, we have our yearly meeting with the North Dakota Department of Transportation during the conference, and we're scheduled for 9:45 a.m. October 10th. It's too early. One on October 10th to meet with the DOT. And project we had was County Road 19 chip seal and fog seal. I think we'll find out there, but probably that's still good date of February 24, or is it?
We'd probably start that like now, if we're gonna make that
Probably wouldn't be
happen.
done until 25 maybe.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could borrow ahead and do it in 24 if you wanted to. You could just bid it a month later or whatever. I did email Kent Laban at the DOT for a project number for that back in May, and I guess it's been on his list, but I haven't seen him come back for it yet. And I guess was last sealed in 2016, so this will be 8 years on it. You don't really want to seal them every, 6 to 9 years. So I mean, I guess it's not at the end of. Wouldn't be the worst to wait till 25, but the main reason we wanted to push it to 24 before was because of the COVID funds, the CBD funds from the DOT, that 48,000 I think it was, was going to expire, but the DOT spent those elsewhere and converted those to your regular federal aid, so those don't have an expiration date now. They just go in your regular federal aid pot. So that changed since the last time we talked about it.
Yep. And I think Kent said that next week he'd be sending out the new federal aid program sheets.
Mm-hmm.
Try to get them out next week.
Yep, so those will be for commission approval at that time. Whether you do that meeting in Bismarck or here, it doesn't matter. I think they like to have them back in November though, so they can plan ahead for the following year.
I know usually we meet out there and then bring it home, whatever, and then sign it and
Mm-hmm.
send it back, so. I think that's all I had on the road department. In your packet, there's a joint powers agreement.
Yeah.
For 911 fees.
Oh, I can speak on that.
Yeah, can you?
Yeah, so it's something that the Association of Counties is doing. So what happens with 911 fees when they're charged to your cell phone bill or your phone bill? That's what this is specifically talking about. They're distributed to the counties by each of the local or each of the telecommunications companies, and they do their own accounting. But the county receives a bunch of different checks from each of those companies. Some of them are probably in the amount of 50 cents. So what the Association of Counties is proposing to do is to take over that on a state level for all 53 counties, and to make sure by using GIS and the tools that the Association of Counties has, to make sure that they're auditing kind of the phone companies or the telecommunication companies to ensure that the counties are being paid at the right rate. And instead of having each of those telecommunication companies distribute like a 50-cent check to the smaller counties, the Association of Counties would distribute that money as a whole to each county. And what that does then is the phone companies actually charge 5% for the administration of that. And what the hope is that it's gonna get that cost down, so maybe either pay the Association of Counties for distributing it, or get to share with that, some of that money with the counties again, so that it's actually gonna probably streamline the process. The Association of Counties at this point, they're not gonna charge for it. It's a free service, that the association is going to do, because they just saw, Aaron Burst is the one that came forward with this, I believe, and they just saw a need to try to distribute the money fairly and make sure that the counties are being paid the way they should be, instead of having those small checks come forward for everybody. The only way it's gonna work is a buy-in by all 53 counties, in order to be able to do it. So, of course, I drank the Kool-Aid, but I think that this is a win-win situation for the county, because we don't have to deal with these small, and just keeping track of these small checks. And we have another safeguard to make sure that we're getting the amount of money that we actually should be getting from the telecommunications companies, instead of them doing the auditing themselves, or making sure that they're giving the checks themselves. I know that they've already been kind of working on this, and they've gone back and audited some, and they've said some counties are probably underpaid and some counties are probably overpaid. But they think that it's gonna be a win-win for all the counties to be involved in it.
So is the Association of Counties gonna pay state radio?
No, that money comes
Yes.
to the county. They pay us, and then we distribute the money to whoever we need to pay it. But they're gonna be one clearinghouse for each telecommunication company, is really what it is. And then they'll do the work to distribute the money to the counties. So it's similar to, say, a state agency handling the distribution of a grant.
So it's gotta be unanimous sign off on
By
every
all the
county?
counties, and in order for it to work for the association to see that there's the right thing to do, or close to unanimous sign off by the counties.
So do we have anything we need from the association?
Well, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. They just won't do it.
No, I mean, it's leverage. If everybody's gotta be on board, as I said, do we need anything from the association? I'm just kidding.
Well,
Someone's gonna do that.
yeah. I don't know if someone will do that or not. But as far as us having leverage, I'm going to be the president in about 3 weeks, so we should be in good shape, the county here. But yeah, like I said, of course, everybody knows that I tout the association, and I think they've done good work for what we needed to do. But I think that it's a win-win for the county, because some of the telco companies, they don't distribute to the small counties because it's maybe 5 cents or 10 cents every time they have to do it, and they're able to keep them and hold them honest to making sure that they're distributing what they should. And it would make your job easier, I think, too, because you got a bunch of bookkeeping crap to take care of, and it would simplify that.
I think the treasurer does a lot of
Yeah, I was
that.
gonna say, I think the treasurer's.
Okay, the treasurer then.
If you look at the formula, looks like there's $1.30 coming back to the county. And we're charged $1.36 for state radio.
Yeah, so they're gonna take 6 cents.
Oh, and if you want a presentation from Jason from GIS, from Nadeko, or Aaron, they're willing to come out and do it too.
I'm going to a meeting on the 19th, I think it is, in Grand Forks, September 19th, 911 Association. So he's gonna do a presentation that time, Jason Horning.
So is this joint powers agreement pushing? Do we have to get this signed right away, or do we have to
I think they want
acknowledge
to try to
right
get it
away?
done so they can start it next year.
Anybody have any questions? Discussion? What do you wanna do? Do you wanna let it sit, or do you wanna?
I say if we do it, because it makes everybody's lives easier, and it's something we don't have to worry about when we do it.
Wayne?
I think we should wait till the next meeting.
Okay.
At
That's
least-
fine with me. If you want to watch
Okay.
the presentation
I
from
want to see
Jason,
the presentation first, see what
Okay.
the other counties are
doing?
thinking I talked to Wells County this morning, and
What they say?
she said she didn't even know about it, the commissioners just approved it,
Yeah.
so she wasn't at the meeting.
Oh,
So,
okay.
I'm
I
guessing
agree.
the information came from Carrie over in Wells County because she's on the board too. But, I was on county tours last week. I went to 5 different counties and everyone seemed on board with it. The auditors or treasurers all said that it would make their life easier to do it. So I think that, I don't see why all 53 counties won't okay it, but I think it's fine to go ahead and get information. And like I said, if you guys want a Zoom presentation from them at the next commission meeting, they won't have any problem doing that.
I don't think that's necessary,
Okay,
but
so we just table it then, so then?
So I have a motion to, could we have a motion to table this until a future meeting?
I'll table it till next meeting.
Well, till, maybe not next.
Well,
week.
next.
There, yeah, whenever it gets back on the
Back to,
agenda.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
So, make a motion to table,
Pending further, yeah. So we need a motion to table pending further information.
okay.
I'll make a motion to do that.
Motion by Tranby to table the joint powers agreement for purchasing until we have Wayne attend a seminar and gather some more information. Could I have a second to that?
I'll second that.
Second by Zorn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Agreement is tabled until a future time.
pardon? So I think that's about it.
I did have one item for the road department. I think we're probably getting to a point where we should try to get in agreement with our neighboring county and do something with the road west of Binford.
County 8.
Mm-hmm. You know, it appears like the water is down now and not in danger of going over everything. The problem before was it was gonna be $1 million and some dollar project. The water was going over not only in Griggs County, but to the west, and there was no sign of them doing anything about it. So we had the possibility of building a road to nowhere.
Has Foster County did some work already? Is that correct? Up there or not? On their side?
They've done stuff farther west.
Farther west.
West they have, okay.
But where it was in danger of going under was right, you
Where
know,
is
where
it?
Brant's is, where Brant's is.
I
Yeah,
take school bus, I know what you're talking about.
okay, that's where, and it was up on the road at times. So, again, the road needs to go all the way through for it to be any purpose, and it appears like now it's probably, well, I guess you don't know. But for the time being, it's quite a bit lower, but if we could enter into some kind of discussion with Foster County, and that might be a project we could get done here.
Yeah, sounds good to me, yeah.
I mean, preliminary, just
Yeah.
someone,
Yeah.
how would you approach that, Wayne?
Well, I would talk to Nate
Okay,
once, he's the superintendent over there,
okay.
see if they have any plans, because I think their section of road is still like only that far out of the water.
Yeah, it
It's a
is.
shorter span, but
Right. From an economic standpoint, that's probably the road that would deserve fixing more than anything, because there's a lot of traffic going across there, and it should get fixed up. It's just we can't be throwing money away and then have to put signs up that close the road because it's underwater after we fixed it.
No, I'm 100% of that.
Okay.
do you want me to talk to Mr. Munson?
Yeah, get the process started and let's see where we're at. Let's see what funding is available. Let's see what monies we have.
Yep.
Okay,
Can I add to that about another road being looked at?
Sure.
Right in Hannaford there in front of the bar, where,
that hole there,
yeah.
I know.
I'm sure you've been calling about it. I asked the city about it. They said it's a county road, so they can't touch it. So I don't know, I didn't know.
I think there's some shut-offs or something right there.
Yeah, it looks like there's a curb stop, but that
There's
would
a
be
curb stop,
awesome to
two
not
curb
have to
stops.
drive around that with a semi.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if it's our responsibility as a county, because it's a county road that goes through there, or if it's state.
Well, it's the county, city,
Oh, God.
and the state.
They all
you know,
kind
But I don't know how far the state goes, but they don't really do much.
well, that's what,
There.
I know. But that's what I
I mean, the
mean.
city, I think, would have to raise up.
Especially if, well, if it's a curb stop, then there must, we don't have a curb stop there, the county, so then there must be an easement in the road in order to have the water in the road, so we need to figure out whose curb stop it is, if that's what's there.
And they've gone and filled gravel in, but it's washed out within a few months, so. And I've had a few people ask me about it. I was like, well, I'll talk to Wayne and when I remember, and I finally remembered something about it, so I just
Yeah,
figured.
and if we could put a couple bags of that hot, or that cold mix in there, it would cover it up, but.
You
gotta
cover
shut
up the
the
curb
water
stop
off.
then, right? Yeah, I was gonna say, you can cover up the curb stop.
I looked at it one day, because Debbie Dahl emailed me about it. So I looked at it, and that's as far as it went.
I just wasn't sure. Again, since it's, what's the easement of the state highway versus us, because she, like, I don't know if she said to you, but she's like, that's on a county road goes through there, I can't touch it, so that's why.
Was it in the city limits?
Yeah.
Then it's not a county road.
Well, our county road goes through the
Through it.
town there, you know. But 26.
Yeah.
Is it adjustable where you can crank it up? Or not?
I don't know.
Curb stop?
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's something that I've had tire concern, had thought about what would happen if someone wrecked a tire on that, because it is kind of tough to get in there with a semi, and that's a big.
Oh, you're supposed to go around.
I don't think there's one trucker that goes around and for the elevator.
It actually isn't so bad when that road isn't washboardy from the south, but all fall that it's like driving down a washboard. So
You're talking on that curve?
if you go south of town and then come in from the south side,
Oh,
the
yeah,
south
that-
side of
yeah,
the
one,
roadhouse,
Township road.
it's not so bad if
Yeah, I
it
know.
doesn't turn the washboard, but there's so much traffic on it.
Yeah.
Well, I can talk, I mean, we can fill it easily, but
Permanently.
in fact, I think it was covered up at one time, and I think they had dug it out. Because we paved it once and we didn't.
Well, that's maybe we could work out with the city. It'd be like, hey, if you raise your curb stop or something,
Yeah.
we'll fill it in.
I'll look at it again. It's not an easy job, I think, just to raise it. We gotta probably dig it out, put a longer pipe on there. I don't think there's threads on there where they can screw off and add a little.
What is it?
They make them that way, but I don't know.
It's
if
bad in the
that-
winter time too. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're plowing snow and stuff.
Especially when, like, this winter, every time I went over that curb with the plow, my pickup hit it every time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, look at it.
Bob on the phone? Okay. NDACO Annual Conference. Who's in charge of that?
That was the one that Annie had emailed you about.
Oh yeah, okay, that's mine.
Yeah.
Annie has out with her kid today. We have some money in the budget. I was just thought it'd be a good thing for Annie to go as the assistant emergency manager to go to the conference, and just wanted to run it by you guys and get an okay from the commission before we did anything. She's registered, but we can cancel the registration, but we wanted to get in on the early bird registration. But I think it'd be a good networking thing for her to go work with some other emergency managers during NDACO.
How much is the registration fee?
225 or 180 or 180 probably for first time.
I think she's the first time, so I think it's. Yeah.
And then
There's money in your budget?
there should be money in the emergency management budget for travel.
Yep, and whoever in charge of the emergency management budget can make that decision.
Okay.
It's been budgeted.
Okay.
Okay. Wayne, you want to have an open house?
Yeah, let's have one.
Okay, that's what it says here.
That's, I've been kind of looking at that as my, getting on that end of it.
Okay.
They sent an email to us here about, is it middle of August? North Dakota Association of Counties. Well, no, it's Upper Great Plains Transportation. Denise Brown down there. Yeah, you only went to the commissioners, actually. Well, that's all it went to.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he would, Wayne got the county superintendent of the year for the whole state. So it's kind of a big deal on that end of it. So they said if you want to, they would help put on a kind of open house to honor him, at the road department, They'd come out and help with it and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And what they do is if you contact your Mike Butler or John Deere and stuff, a lot of times they'll chip in like for like a meal or something, that end of it. And in my end of it, I said I butchered a big bull here this summer, don't ask. So I will donate all the hamburger, make the hamburger patties and stuff. If you want to grill something at noon or something, I'll take care of that end of it. So it's something I'll need to do some more work on this. I just haven't had time in it.
Okay.
I'll do some more checking and try to figure some more things out in this one. So, but anyway, that's where I stand on that right now. So
Okay.
I think it's something worthwhile doing for us.
Yep. Anybody against Scott taking control of this?
No?
Go for it.
Okay.
Unless there's some little stakes too, or.
Yeah, nice try. Nice try.
Old courthouse, new courthouse.
In your packet, you do have a
Letter.
proposal for the seamless gutters.
Yeah. So, where'd that come from? Is it a local guy?
No.
Okay.
They're from out of Fargo.
Okay, so it was so vague, it doesn't list footage, it doesn't give us any ability to evaluate the cost.
And there's only one bid.
We did call another guy, we did call another guy, but they are unable to do any commercial buildings.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we need an itemized bid, we
Yeah,
can't
I know,
have
this is-
$2,800 and what'd you get, 2 foot of gutter?
Yeah, there's not much there.
Yeah.
That's all that.
Someone needs to come out and look at it and,
This guy did come out and look at it. He was here with Brian. They did this or whatever. So
okay, let's see if we can itemize the bid and see what we're getting.
okay.
No, because we can't just act on an open number like that. Anything else on the old courthouse, new courthouse?
Nope.
Nobody?
No.
Bob on the phone yet?
No. Do you want to do the appraisal? Finley Farmers?
Oh, Finley, I can.
Yep, that's what.
So I stopped and talked to Todd at the elevator in Finley, Todd Erickson.
Uh-huh.
And last time, Tuesday when it rained or whatever it was. Yeah, something like that. And he was supposed to come and talk to you the next day. Did you do that?
Yes, he did.
Okay. So what do you guys discuss? I wasn't here.
So he was under the impression that he received that 5-year exemption.
I told him not. I said no.
So I did give him the meeting minutes where everything was
Yeah.
talked about, and so that's
Where you stand.
where I left it.
Okay.
So I'm not sure that he's being exactly forthcoming because Tricia Kruger did contact me,
Yeah.
knowing that this spring, and I would assume that she had been in contact with the elevator. So unless she had just been in contact with the township, I was under the assumption that came from the elevator. So
Well, he said that he received a letter from the county that said that he did receive the exemption. I did not
No, we
send.
didn't send it.
I didn't send him a letter, and the only letter that he would have received was that letter that you would have sent, Jamie, saying that it was in question. So
well, they were at the meeting.
they were at the meeting where they got it. So there was a motion that they got it, and then the next meeting, it was in question, and then you were supposed to send them a letter saying that it was in question. Then the next meeting, we figured out that it wasn't supposed to go, or that we didn't have the authority to go. I gave him all those meeting minutes, and that's.
I think I did send that meeting minute letter to them.
Yeah, it makes little or no difference. We didn't have the ability to do it.
Mhm.
And this all took place in a noticed public meeting.
Right.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but we, in order to give approvals, not just to Finley, but to anybody, we would have had to go to the voters and ask for their approval for that power.
That's what that.
Yeah, and we
said
didn't,
that.
we never did that, and I don't think we should ever do that. I don't think we should be in the position of doling out taxpayer dollars, because that's what we're doing by giving an exemption. Someone's gotta pay, someone's gotta make up that difference, and it's gonna be the taxpayers. So, I don't know where the hang-up came, but, or why it took place now, but that was a settled issue. Now, we still need to get the appraisal done.
And then, as I talked to that Crown, Crown.
Yeah.
She sent me another email here, a week ago. She said they'd come up again in the next, whenever we want to, they would come up, of course. But their fee is about, $5,000 to $6,000 to do it, of course.
Yeah, it is.
On that, if it's in, it would be, you said the township had to pay for that, I think, or somebody made a comment, which is.
I mean, that'll have to be figured out after the fact, because it's gotta be done. The property's gotta be put onto the tax rolls, so.
So do you want me to go ahead and have them come up or not? That's my next question to you.
Yeah, I don't think we have, we don't have access to an assessor in Griggs County.
Well, I mean, it's like somebody like that, that's what they do.
Well, the state law specifies that our appraisers can only go to what, $500,000, Jamie? I think that's the limit. Maybe they've raised it, but anyway, it's
Yeah,
over the
default.
limit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So it would be beneficial then to have the appraiser Crown come to and explain to us the process, and whether in the meantime we can figure out who has to pay for that. Is that possible? Who's in charge? I mean, I know what the Century Code says, that if the township can't do the appraisers, then the county does the appraisal and then bills the township back for the, because of course the township is going to get a benefit from this tax-wise, but probably not to the tune of $5,000 or $6,000.
so I guess, so the bottom line is, do you want me to contact her again and see if they want to come up? Is that what we want to do here, or what's, you follow me, or what's our plan?
Josh?
Sure.
I mean, when he contacts me, he's contacting it for the,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
the
I'm contacting the whole
commission.
commission, that's what
Okay.
We're just giving him, he's
Yeah.
gonna be the contact person.
So you.
He won't make a,
I've already
he
got
won't make a
Yeah, I'm fine
decision.
with
that.
He'll
No,
just set up the
Yes,
appointment.
exactly.
I thought you meant for them to come here or something like that, or something like
Yeah,
that.
that's.
Yeah, they will.
I will, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah,
Rod,
yeah, I'm okay with that, yeah, for him to be the contact person and all that, yeah.
What about you, Rod?
I'm good with that.
Okay.
So maybe we can have a motion to allow Tranby to talk to Crown Assets,
Yeah.
Crown Appraisers, and
They're
set,
in Barnesville.
yep, and set up a meeting in the future for them to come to a commission meeting and lay out what's involved and the cost with this appraisal of the fertilizer plant. If I could have a motion to that effect.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Zorn, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Avery, all in favor signify by saying aye.
I
Opposed, same sign. Motion passed. So, you're authorized to go
Okay.
set up the meeting.
I'll talk to him.
Bob will be in 5 minutes.
have a motion for a 5-minute break. Motion by Tranby to take a 5-minute recess. Second by Averill. Back at 3:15.
My question.
So that was taken out of the budget because we do have those ARPA funds
Correct.
this year to be used this year for it.
You were the, and John, didn't you were the one that came with the idea of it, right? To take that money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So can we use that, can we go ahead and do the order the radios or do something with that?
Yeah, as soon as we're presented with a receipt that
Okay.
we know what we're gonna pay, we need to have an amount, we
Okay.
need to know what we're paying for, what, when, and
Alright.
we have to be presented with
Yeah,
an
we understand
invoice.
that, John, I understand
Yeah.
that, I'm just saying that, so we can go,
We can move forward with it, is
yeah,
basically what
that's
it
what
is.
When it's in front of us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's not in front of
we
us.
can Get an actual dollar amount and
Right.
get it brought to them.
Yes,
okay,
Money has,
I just
money's
received-
expended on the basis, here's what you're paying for, and here's the payment.
Yeah, you will get a copy of the proposal, not invoice, but proposals. And if that's approved, we'll sign that, it'll go in, and then we'll get an invoice back with that dollar amount on it. We'll pay for them, and they will be ordered, and they will show up at Griggs County,
so can you have
hand
something,
delivered.
so you can have that done for the next commission meeting then, something like that order of
Yeah.
invoice?
It's a purchase agreement.
Purchase agreement, correct, yeah, just like a house.
Yeah, I just got the paperwork on that.
Okay, fine, that sounds good to me.
So the last item I have in the sheriff's department is I count 7 employees that we've been paying here in this last pay schedule.
We don't have 7 employees, we have part-timers that are coming from other counties to help us.
But 7's the right number.
And most of them are from
let's see here.
most of them are Steele County, right, come over to cover for us, right, Bob? Steele
I
County.
think there's, I think there was, yeah, there's been 7 individuals, a couple of them have done very little for the county, just emergent situations when I could get my hands on them.
Okay.
I have one more item, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
At the last meeting, I do have a motion to advertise for the 2006 Ford Explorer. In doing some research, that is actually a 2013 Ford Explorer, so I was not able to put in that bid or that ad into the paper. If you guys wanted to amend that motion to make it a 2013 Ford Explorer,
Yeah, I'll amend that motion, make a motion again.
We have a motion to advertise the 2013 Ford Explorer. I guess we'll need a second to that. Motion by Tranby.
I'll
Second by
second that.
second by Averill and Zorn. Yeah, we can just do a voice vote on this. All in favor of advertising the 2013 Ford Explorer, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Just one footnote in that car, I had it checked out, it has absolutely no value for us. I got basically a low-end economy junk battery to put in it so we could actually start it, move it. It's got no value for us going forward.
Okay. Wait,
There's a transmission issue with it.
but we have, by law, we have to advertise it, correct, Jamie?
Well, if there's no value, if it's nominal value like $100, but I would guess that the value of the vehicle is gonna be more than $100.
Probably.
Oh, somebody will buy it, they'll buy the car, but it's got no value for us as a
To
law
us,
enforcement
right.
vehicle. I should make that more clear, it's got no use to the Griggs County Sheriff's Office as a patrol vehicle. Or admin vehicle, either way.
So back to these employees, it looks like the 5 employees are full-time.
No,
Maybe I missed something. Bradley Anderson, looks like he's got a full-time salary here for the last 2 weeks. Dalton, also. Shane Johnson, same salary as Dalton. Brian Hager, a little bit more than that, and in your salary, and they're all full-time salaries for the last 2 weeks anyway, for the pay period.
when the part-timers that help, they are paid at a higher rate, a going rate by all the sheriff's offices. I will know within a week, I'll have a very solid future of the employment of my staff in the county. At that time, I'll be able to give you what the next year is going to bring as far as what I have for staffing and what our needs are going to be. As far as I'm going to have to hire or replace people, there's a very good chance I'm losing 2 of our staff.
Bob, you realize that the budget season is over, don't you?
Well, John, if I replace a deputy, another one's going to have to come and fill them. And that money's budgeted for 24.
I understand that.
Right. And I'm not saying we're be spending extra money coming. I finally have a full staff right now, and that's going to be changing. I'm quite sure that'll be changing in the next week. So I am going to have to advertise, and hopefully I can get someone interested in coming to work here. When I said a meeting ago that we're in somewhat of a crisis in law enforcement right now, not only me, I've talked to all my counterparts. Nobody can get applicants. The highway patrol is down over 20 officers, so we're in a very vicarious place. And I'm not saying that for any other reason to let you know the situation that we're potentially facing in the next 2-3 weeks.
Well, as of right now, we have more officers than have ever been on the payroll since I've been a commissioner.
Yeah, but a lot of them are part-timers, though, John.
The part-timers are on the payroll because they have to be listed that way for a workers' comp. They're not full-time Grigstown employees, they're full-time deputies in other facilities.
When I
Or
say
other agencies.
they're receiving a full-time salary. That's what we deal in money.
Right, I understand that, John. But they're not a full-time employee, not working full-time. They're working part-time hours as needed when emergency situations are there where I have no one else to cover. We've had many situations.
Correct. We've always been short-staffed, so we have to rely on other counties to help us out, correct? And that's how we get the part-time people to come and help us.
And in the past, and you know, we want to talk about the past. There was money put in the budget repeatedly for years on end to cover these kind of situations, and that was taken out and against the wishes of the elected sheriffs who have to run their office. And I'm not saying that's an excuse to go wild and spend money. No one's went wild and spent money. We've protected the citizens of Griggs County as required, as expected by our citizens. And if it costs extra money, that's a sad fact. And yes, we were our budget, and yes, there's reserve funds to cover that, and other counties go through this. I have talked to many sheriffs who've been in this situation.
So we should just forego the budget process then and just leave it up to the sheriff to decide how much money is going to be spent.
John, you can say anything you want to.
Well, that's what's happening.
You can say anything you want to, John. You're just throwing words out there to cause trouble. Okay? No one said we're going to forego the budget process.
You just
did.
There
were budget requests put in that were denied.
You just did forego the budget process, Bob. You're $100,000 over budget. If that isn't foregoing the budget,
you got to show me that, John. Show me where I'm $100,000 over budget. Just like we were $500,000 over budget when you took over. Okay, show me that in black and white, John. Send it to me to my email. I want to look at it today. You show me where I'm $100,000 over budget
You're 75 over budget just by not having those
Where?
contracts in place, Bob.
John, John, is it October 8th? And you just said minutes ago, we're not talking about the contracts.
I'm talking
So
about
let's
the
just talk
overall
black and white.
sheriff's budget. So it isn't October 8th. I said right now, we're $100,000 or more over budget because those contracts are not in place. And we have $11,000 over budget from last year. We have, I can't even figure out how much we're over budget here now until I add up all these salaries. And we haven't even addressed the vehicle yet. We are easily 100,000. That's on the low side. Once the contracts come into place, that'll probably even out to more like 75,000. But nevertheless, it's over budget, and it was done so without the commission being made aware. And we're only addressing it now because I was the one that brought it up. If I hadn't brought it up, we wouldn't have known. And so that's all we're asking.
I'm not going to sit here, John, let you say that my budget is over $75,000 or $100,000 now. The money from the school and the money from the city has not been spent. You guys had to put that money in the budget to cover those costs so we could move forward legally when the time comes. Okay? If we don't spend that money, you're not over budget, and you're not going to be over budget if we spend the money.
Bob, it's in
The contract will be signed.
It is in your budget.
The contracts are not signed yet, John, and it's not October 8th. So don't sit here and say that I'm $75,000 over budget, because there is nothing that backs that up. Nothing.
Nothing but the paperwork.
No.
Nothing but the paperwork and the canceled checks, Bob.
If we wrote checks and paid people before we had contracts well into 2024, yes, then you would be over budget. But you're not going to be over budget, because we are not going to spend one penny until contracts are signed by October 8th, and we actually have someone in a position at the school to even receive that funding. Right now, I have nobody. So contracts will be in place.
That's fine. I said, Bob, as of now, we're $100,000 over budget because we don't have the contracts in place. So let's quit squibbling about this. Let's see what happens by October 8th. But we still have to.
I'm not going to listen to you say that, because we're not over the budget. That's a grandstanding effort for whoever you're preaching for. We are not $100,000 over budget, and that's absolutely BS. We all know it. We're not over budget till we are over budget.
Okay,
until
Bob.
October 8th, we are not over budget, and there's no intentions to run us over budget.
Bob,
I'm not going to listen to it. I'm not putting up with it.
Then
I'm not.
Okay, I don't care if you're putting up with it or not, Bob. We'll have this discussion at the end of this year, and we'll decide how much is over budget, because it'll be a hard and fast number, and so we'll have that discussion then, Bob.
We're getting
Appreciate
nowhere.
that.
Yeah,
No, we're not.
We're getting nowhere right now, guys.
that's correct.
We're getting nowhere.
That's correct.
So let's just.
Correct. I agree.
Well, I think
Well, let me ask this question. What would you like me to say so we can move forward here right now?
Okay.
say you'll have the contracts
Yeah.
done.
Chairman.
Yeah.
Say you'll have the contracts done for us October 8th.
No, the next meeting.
The next meeting.
Okay,
would be nice.
okay.
Next meeting would be
The
nice.
contracts and for the next meeting, and what was the other thing we wanted for the next meeting? There was something else besides the contracts. What was it?
Oh, the purchase agreement for the radios.
Purchase agreement for the radios. Please say you'll have that done, or at least some kind of rough draft that we can go off of.
Please.
I have that. That is in my email. I have that. I now have that.
Okay, please.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm gonna throw it out there. If there's no money to buy the car, then there's no money to buy the car. So
We don't know that yet. We don't know that yet, Bob. The whole thing changes as soon as we know whether or not we have the revenue from these contracts. That makes a big difference in the whole equation. And then as soon as we nail down what we're going to have going forward for employees, that also makes a big difference, because if we have a full-time employee, instead of having to pay time and a half or overtime or double time for somebody filling in, that makes a difference. So when we can see the whole picture, then we can make the decision on the whole picture. But we can't see it right now because there's too many variables. Does that make sense?
See, John, you just answered your own question. You just went on there and said there's all these variables, but yet you're gonna tell me 2 seconds ago that we're $100,000 over budget. You can't have it both ways, sir. You gotta pick one. Which way is it gonna be?
As of this point, without the signed contracts, we're $100,000 over budget, period.
Find me a CPA that would back that up and I'll agree with you.
So let's just move forward.
Yes.
Let's just move
Yeah, I
forward,
agree. I agree.
and then
I agree.
the next meeting, let's have something what the radios are gonna cost, and something with the contracts, so we can move forward from there. How's that sound?
Can I make a suggestion? Are you guys okay if we disseminate that to you individually on emails because we talked about this at an open meeting? Can I send them to you in email so you guys get a chance to review them? And you can ask questions before the meeting that I can get clarification?
Jamie?
If you guys want some clarification?
Is that a legal thing?
They can be disseminated through Samantha with no discussion. But there is actually
Correct.
an AG's opinion that came out a couple weeks ago in Eddy County that the AG actually says that can't happen. Now we're looking for some clarification on that opinion. So as of right now, it even appears that disseminating commission materials is contrary to the AG's opinion. So I would rather it be part of the agenda that's sent out, and at that point, everybody, if it's sent out a day or two in advance, everybody can look through it and have enough time to look at it. The AG's opinion is kind of scary right now, and I spoke about it with Aaron Burst last week, and it's kind of messy.
But for sure, Bob, the discussing the context individually with the commissioners is not allowed.
Correct, I know that. That's black
Because,
and white.
with one, I take that back, with one commissioner it would be allowed, but
Correct.
once you step over
Correct.
so individually discussing it with the commissioners, so the purpose of sending it out individually has no merit anyway. So in answer to Josh's question, you'll have us a signed contract by next meeting?
Yes.
Or some kind of rough draft so we know what we're getting into.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then same thing with the radios,
Radio.
cost on the radios, or a purchase agreement or something like that, so we can get that approved for you.
Yeah, we have that in hand. That is in hand. That was delivered to me after I left for
Okay.
this trip to Texas. That was delivered to my email. I have that.
So we won't be able to have a signed contract from anybody by the next meeting, but we'll have to have drafts that we'll present to everybody. There'll have to be a draft that the school gets and a draft that you guys get, and make sure that you guys are good with it.
Okay.
That won't, yeah.
Yeah, because
That
the
won't change
city
it.
can't sign that contract till October because they met their meeting in September when they approved this, so they don't have another meeting coming up until October.
So
No,
that won't
this
change our
happened late in the year.
situation until we have a signed contract.
Yeah, but we'll
Correct.
at least have an idea what the contract will be and everything, so that'll help us with it.
But until both parties sign, it's
Oh, I
not an
see.
agreement, because we can't control what the other party is,
And they may
what
come
they're
back with some
thinking.
changes.
They might
for
come
you
back
guys
with
to
some
look at
changes,
too.
so it,
Well, okay, just remember, the city contract for policing is not tied to someone filling the school resource officer position. It's a standalone funding from the city for guaranteed law enforcement.
yeah, the city contract
Yeah.
was, we tentatively had it tied to the vehicle. We're gonna use that money towards
So,
part of the
so I have a
vehicle.
question on that. Okay.
Whoa.
Well,
Where did that come from? Because you cut the vehicle out of the budget, so
That's my
what
other-
funding are you talking about?
That was what the discussion was last meeting, that where could we get the money to possibly fund a vehicle? And I think Tranby asked about the
So we-
money coming from the city, correct?
With that too, but
Okay.
also, we had $10,000.
I was not advised of that.
Well, it's not, it wasn't voted on, it was a
Yes, you have
discussion.
$10,500 within the.
But then we put $25,000 in next year, correct? In 2024.
Yeah,
So we'll have $35,000 in 2024, correct?
Yeah, and then you brought up the point, what about the school?
Yeah.
Well, excuse me, what about the city contract money? Can that be used towards
That's
that?
right, yeah.
That was,
Yeah.
it wasn't a voted on, it wasn't,
Yeah.
it was a discussion
Yeah,
point.
okay, that's, okay.
So can I get a black and white answer? So if things work out the way that we want them to, where is the money coming from to buy a vehicle?
Would it come
Where is that fund?
Would it come out of that fund? then?
Because
That 30.
my question is, the money from the school, according to previous conversations today, is tied into the budget to cover an expenditure that was not a vehicle. So how do we make that connection? I'm not getting that.
We did not put the revenue from the city
School.
in
No, we didn't.
the city.
The city,
Okay.
no.
Yeah, we did not put the
So
revenue from the
so where's
city
that
in
revenue
the.
going to balance the budget?
It's not. It's going to balance the budget if we decide to buy a vehicle. So it's tied
Okay.
tentatively to the vehicle if the commission decides to do that. So they're both tied, they both have to be backed up by a contract because both the vehicle and the sheriff's budget is in the 2024 budget. So that's why they're both tied there.
And we'll have
Thank
$35,000
you.
for starting for a vehicle, start next year, and then another 35 after that, right? And we're just gonna keep doing 35
Well-
every year.
Well,
on
we
the-
don't know
we
that.
don't, we don't, we'll decide that next budget meeting.
Oh, okay.
You know, for the next
I see,
round.
I see what you're saying, but
Yeah.
so far we increased to $25,000.
Plus
So you
10.
have 35.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
35 and Scott brought up the point
for
that could we
compensation
use the
purposes-
$30,000 for the vehicle, the extra 30 from the city.
Okay, I see.
But the only way to do that is to have,
The contract into place.
Yes.
Okay. So,
So my question then, how can we take the $35,000 out of that fund, the general fund, when it wasn't budgeted?
It is. There's 10,000,
budgeted to put money-
there's 10,500 in there this year, and then there'll be 25,000 in there next year. That's your 35,500.
Okay,
And then there's the
Okay,
30,000 from the city that we didn't put in the budget, so then that would have been additional revenue.
so I got two questions on that. So how do we take that revenue from the city and just put that towards the vehicle? And when the commission voted to take the vehicle purchase for 2024 out of the budget, how do we all of a sudden have money to buy a car with that $30,000 that wasn't budgeted? That's my question. That's the part I'm not getting here.
Huh?
We took the budget money that was in the general fund budget for a vehicle that was deleted, that was taken out. So how can we all of a sudden now grab 30,000 out of general fund and put towards the vehicle?
No,
Unless it's an emergency or what?
the 65 was taken out, Bob. 35 was left in there, 10 plus the 30, the 25 that went in.
and that's not in a general fund, so then
It's-
it's in a Schedule C, so
Schedule
then
C fund.
those ones
Okay,
state
so that
within
money
that.
is earmarked, that can be spent in any given year at the commissioner's wishes.
Yeah, that was Tranby's
right?
motion. That
Okay.
was Tranby and Averial's motion was to use that money and then at the start of 2025, hopefully budget another 35,000 and buy the vehicle. It was pretty straightforward.
Gotcha.
but yeah,
Well, I left, you guys did it after I left.
correct.
So
That's
I
correct.
wasn't consulted.
That's why the vehicle was taken out of there, because we basically earmarked, like he was saying, earmarked for a vehicle on a different spot. So that's why everything was taken out, or the vehicle was taken out, because they were putting money aside for a vehicle or whatever else in a different fund anyways. So since it was already set aside in a different fund, they just took it out of yours to just balance the budget better for a vehicle for you, if you kind of get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, I'm probably not saying
Fine.
that clear enough, and I apologize, but
Well, I understand now the way Sam explained that the money was set aside there. Is my understanding that money was just not put back into the general fund, but not allocated out of the general fund for 2024. So I get it now what you're saying. It's in a special schedule.
So what's your intention for the overspending of the employees' budget in 2023 going forward?
What's my intention?
Yes.
Give me the question again.
You have a line item for 3 deputies or 2 deputies and the sheriff's department. Right now, we're spending dollar value the equivalent of 5 full-time employees. What's your intention going forward?
Well, obviously, it's gonna have to be covered by the county. There's no line items in my budget to cover even what I need. So there's no line items in my budget to cover X expenses. We know that. So my intentions are to ask the commissioners to work through that like any other sheriff would in the state of North Dakota. Because that's part of business. That's part of conducting business. Was it ideal? It was absolutely not ideal. Absolutely no, not even close to being ideal. So I guess to turn that question around, what options is there that I would have any control over to cover that cost?
Well, obviously, you hire the deputies.
Yep, sure did.
Yeah. I just want to get it straight.
And for
Bob.
12
I just want to get it straight.
And for 12 weeks, 12 weeks I was without one. 13 weeks.
I just asked him the question, Bob. I said, what are your intentions going forward? That's what should have taken place here
Okay, going
6 months
forward?
ago. What are the intentions going forward, and how are we supposed to cover it? If your intentions are to keep spending money at the rate you're spending it, it has to come
My
from some
intention going
source.
forward is I'm full staffed. I'm full staffed, finally full staffed.
What do you
my
consider
intention going forward is-
What do you consider full staffed?
There'll be 3
Sheriff,
officers in Griggs County. Someone is leaving, and one, it sounds like they're leaving voluntarily, so that's gonna fix itself. And I think another's leaving, so my full staff might be for a week, maybe 2.
What do you consider full staff?
What I'm allocated by the county. I only have 3 deputies. I have 3 deputies. I have part-timers that fill in. That's a very basic concept.
2 deputies and a sheriff in 2023.
That's right,
yeah, that's correct.
in 2024.
And then with the schools.
But I'm asking, going forward from this point, we're in September, what's your intention moving forward? Are you going to have the 2 deputies and a sheriff, or are we going to continue with
Yes.
the process?
Yes. Unless, like I just said, so I can tell you pie in the sky these next 3 years, I mean these next 4 months, whatever. I can say I'm gonna be full staff, no one's leaving, everyone's gonna be here, life's gonna be great. But I got a feeling, based on what my last conversations have been the last 2 days, that that's gonna change within the next week or 2.
So we'll know it next
So
week.
then-
Will you be able to give us a idea then next meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else have any
It's
questions?
a personnel thing, and I can't know until you guys, you guys can't know until I know, and I won't know until I'm told within the next 7 to 8 days.
One last thing is that, number one, thank Bob for coming back and running for sheriff. We need somebody to come back and help. We appreciate that, Bob. Number 2 is that people in Griggs County want law enforcement, and somehow we need to cover this somehow. That's one thing that's kind of in their upper minds all the time. You talk to people out in the country, they will pay for that or figure some way of paying for it as long as they're covered. That's what I hear out in the countryside. So, in law enforcement.
Right.
So I'm just,
Did you talk to all 2,000 taxpayers?
No,
in
I
Griggs
did
County?
not, but I talked to enough of them out
And,
there.
and you realize that the whole purpose of the budget is to
I know
include
that,
everybody.
John.
Okay.
I'm just saying that's,
So-
as our individual precinct people, and we talk to our district people, you get feedback from them. That's what they're supposed to do.
Right.
You know that.
I understand that,
Yeah.
but there's
So
2
let's make
sides
it-
to everything,
Yes.
and we have to base what we do on what we did.
Yeah. Anyway. So can we?
What we did, this was done. This is the blueprint for this year. We have the blueprint for next year.
Yeah.
It's not changeable. We don't have the ability to change it. We don't have the ability to fund it. So,
Anyway.
next meeting, we'll have a breakdown of what the sheriff's department could possibly look like and how we're going to try to get this thing reined back on budget, or back within the budget guidelines, is that correct?
Well,
Everybody-
and I can tell you this, if things go as planned, we're gonna be down 2. If
Well,
things go as they might, we're
let's
gonna be
hope
down 3.
Well, let's hope not. But,
My third option to keep someone here might be disappearing also.
yep,
So that's what we're looking at.
it appears that's that way all over the United States. I saw an article in,
Yep.
where an entire town quit over Minnesota, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And we're not saying get rid of people. We're saying that when you're faced with these problems, you got to come to us so that we can figure out a solution for it.
Correct.
Okay.
One solution to some of this would have been to fund those positions for 24 to level requested by the sheriff. That would have been a helper to try and track somebody, because now the neighboring counties around us are starting their staff out about 10,000 more than we are. And some of them are paying full family medical. That puts us in a very, very difficult position as Griggs County to attract new staff. I'm just saying that, and that's just the way it is. It's a fact that us, the citizens, are gonna have to deal with. If you can't woo someone here to work, it makes it pretty rough. So anyway, I have nothing else. I need to go. I've got other commitments here right now today, so
Okay. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
thanks, bye.
Yep, thanks.
Trade her like that.
Okay.
Trade her like that. Construction. That's just terrible right now.
All right. Well, something for you people to think about.
Okay.
Future business.
Should we put the County Road 8 on again when we're talking about, John? Put that on there?
If you want to.
Yeah, let's put County Road 8 on and talk about that some more.
In this case, scenario, we just keep it shelved.
Yeah, and then, we'll put the Finley thing back on, Finley appraisal.
I have the Finley Farmers
Yeah.
elevator appraisal,
Yeah.
Sheriff's Office, and
Yeah.
County Road 8.
Well, anything more on the sales tax ratio thing from that guy study, anything at all? Anything?
Yep.
I mean, he hasn't,
It's not finalized.
It's nothing done yet.
Is it gonna be finalized?
Yeah.
By then, if so, can we put it on there?
Do you want me to put that on there?
Yeah,
I think an update should just be put on it, because that's getting close to budget.
Yeah,
crunch time
correct.
Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. That's the only thing I have.
I guess
Anything else,
something
John?
we should, yeah, well, we should probably talk about, it's faded into obscurity now, but we should probably talk about the audits. So
Okay.
we need to talk about whether or not the county, the city, excuse me, the state has accepted the audits that we sent in.
Okay.
Because if they haven't acknowledged and sent and accepted those, it would make serve no purpose to spend money and send in the 2 remaining audits. If they haven't acknowledged those audits, we need to find out why.
Okay. Yeah,
If you guys are in favor of that,
we're in favor of that.
okay?
Okay. So, motion to adjourn?
We have a motion to adjourn from Tranby. Do I have a second?
One second.
Yeah.
Second by Avriel. Meeting adjourned, 4:29. Next meeting in this room, Thursday, September 21st at 2:30. Thank you all.